Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Matt Willson PreWeek show, Week 8 edition. What is wrong with you?
We are number one in the hearts of Louisiana fans and Mexico City fans. We're number one for a different, completely reason, using a completely separate finger. But hey,
yeah, I have a foam finger for your team. It's got a different finger raised. But anyway, I'm Mike Daggs. He's Gerald Smith. Let's get Week 8 started. Gerald, being Week 8, we are officially done with the first half of the season. What are your thoughts on the first half of the season so far?
It's been quite the interesting season, right? And it's kind of odd to think at this point we actually have, last season we had a couple teams at this point undefeated, but there's two teams that are extremely undefeated and winning games, and there's another team that has like one loss and they look like they can't be stopped either.
That's true. So yeah, it's been a season of ups and downs. There's some teams doing great, there's some still looking for their first win. So we'll break the whole thing down, see who can maybe get off that get over the hump, as they say, here in Week 8, and which teams are going to be able to keep on going.
I really do think the hump is overrated. It really is. I like to go up, not go over and go down.
Right.
Go up.
Yeah. Well, when they say it's all uphill from here, that's usually bad, isn't it? If it's downhill, it's
I don't know. If your trajectory is going up, who knows? I don't know. Point up, no more.
Enough of that. You and your... You're trying to figure out however many ways you can tie in your finger.
Yeah. Why
anyway, Week 8 schedule. Let's go ahead and break it down. Starting tonight in just about 27 minutes time, we're going to get Week 8 started. Indianapolis at Louisiana. Your team starting the week off. How are you feeling about your game?
I'm feeling pretty good, pretty confident this week. A good week of prep. I finally got back into a little bit of coaching this week too. After the way we lost the last 2 weeks against some very, very good teams. No discredit to them, but feel like, hey, look, we need to kind of right the ship, and our coaching staff was diligent in doing everything they could to get us back on track. And I think we have what it takes this week.
And I've noticed, I'm sure many others have too, that the fans that go to your game, they must have like really deep pockets, because they always seem to buy new attire every time they go to your games. Are the fans going to be wearing some more new shirts?
I've been trying to stop the crazy scalper stuff, because we want that money in house. They buy that outside the stadium, they bring it in, but you know what? If it's taunting our opponent, I don't care what they do.
PD Zeller, Anthony Ellison on the call to get the week started for us. Great crew to get the week going. PD Zeller, one of our new guys this season, along with Anthony Ellison, who's coming along great. 8:15 p.m., that'll be our game, Gerald. Los Angeles, Motor City. We're going to break that one down in depth later on, so we'll keep on rolling. That is the Friday slate. On Saturday, we'll get the game started at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Seattle at Minnesota. The legendary crew, Chad Rowland, Eddie Gage, back in the saddle.
It's the Chad, as I call him, the Chad, and Mr. Non-Pick Six.
Yeah,
Hall of Famer. I don't know why he's in a Hall of Fame. You need pick sixes, Eddie.
That should be like a requirement.
A prerequisite. It's got to be. Cameron Ryan, we got to kick him out until he gets it.
Jeffrey's got pick six. So.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he is a Hall
I got a pick six. I'm nowhere near the Hall of Fame.
Well, there's a reason. 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, Atlanta at Jacksonville. Colin and Rick. Nothing more needs to be said. It's Colin and Rick. Yep. Make sure you tune into that one. 9 p.m. Eastern, Florida at Vancouver. Cameron Duty, Wade Phillips, two of the finest broadcasters that we have. Wade doesn't call enough games, but he's back into the booth this week. Looking forward to hearing that one. Cameron Duty, as always, knocking it out of the park. Speaking of people who haven't been in the booth much, but one of fan favorites, Alamo City at Queen City at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Eric Vincent and Mickey Malillo.
That's double M7. That's
double M7 back in the booth.
He's back in, but it's been a little while.
It has been a little while. He tried to get back in last week and then felt under the weather. Hopefully he stays healthy for us this week. He'll be back in the booth. You can listen to his game 9:15. That's our Saturday slate. Sunday kicks off 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Baltimore at Arizona, clash of the Titans in the, or I should say on the field, and a couple of Titans in the booth. Ramos Lynn, Mike O'Neill. Mike joining the broadcast crew this season and has been doing absolutely fantastic.
A phenomenal job.
Ramos Stradamus, I think he was called in the past, back in the booth as well. That's it's going to be a great game. Houston at Canton, arguably potentially the game of the week. A couple of powerhouse teams this season. 6:45 p.m. on Sunday. It's going to be Tyler and Brett calling that game. Great crew for a great game, and looking forward to that one. 9 o'clock p.m. Portland at Denver. Damon Simeon, Rochelle Colston. Two great broadcasters calling that one. And 9:15 p.m. Fort Worth at Mexico City. That one's going to be a good game as well. And might just be my own bias, co-owning Mexico City, but it's going to be a good game. Battle of the South.
And it's I think it's very underrated as far as a play-by-play guy. Andy Hamilton, I do think that guy, I don't know how he hasn't won a Broadcaster of the Year award yet, but he's definitely deserving of every season.
It's about the bribes that the broadcast director gets. That's really how that award is handed out.
Well,
so, he's not willing to pay, and that's why Jeffrey shoved him into the pool the last time we were in Houston. We said it was for other reasons. But anyway, Andy Hamilton and Brandon Walters on the call. Brandon, another newcomer to the broadcast team, and has been doing a fantastic job. The Monday Night Spectacular this week, Monday, 8 p.m., as Carolina at Charleston. Cameron Irvine, Charles Doherty closing out the schedule for us. And, it's a great slate of games to look forward to. We mentioned, arguably the game of the week. Houston at Canton on Sunday, 6:45 p.m. Eastern. We asked the question as we called the Houston game last week, are they for real? They were 4-1 at the time. Are they for real? Because they have a much better start than they've had in many seasons. In fact, they're off to their best start since season 9, which was a long time ago.
A very long time ago.
It's the last time the Aztecs won the championship. I know, it's been a long time.
That was before you showed up. When you showed up for the Aztecs,
it's all downhill from there. It is a bad thing.
I wonder if our great buddy here was blaming you. Mike, we were great before you showed up.
Yeah. He did. Yeah. He can confirm. He absolutely blamed me for all their failures. Ever since you started playing tight end for us, we've done bad. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I love you too. Anyway, so Houston thoroughly stomped Tulsa last week, 38-10. It was just a very dominant game. That answered the question for us. Is Houston for real? Yeah, they're for real. Speaking of for real, Canton, 6-0. What else can we say? They're 6-0. Number one scoring offense, number one defense in points allowed. This is arguably a battle of the Titans. Break it down for us. Let's start with you.
Look, and we felt the wrath of Louisiana by that. They came into our house and they actually put it to us. We held with them for about a half, and after that they just turned it on and just knocked the brakes right off of us. But Houston, right? You talked about Canton being the number one scoring offense. Guess what Houston has? The number two scoring offense themselves. So they used to put the point. Over 30 points a game, like you said, behind Canton, and they also have the number 2 rushing offense. Who are they behind? The Canton Classics have the number 1 rushing offense, but they actually have the number 1 rusher in the league in Josh Slap.
Yo, mama.
There you go.
Yes,
who is also tied for number 1 in rushing TDs on the season with 7. With, GP Wells and Josh Slap have a league-leading total of 13 rush touchdowns on the season combined. And one of the I don't think anybody's even really talking about him, right? As far as the quarterback play, Dave Burr is doing stuff with the wide receiving core. He has very, very underrated.
He has been.
And they have been sneaky good, right? Even though they're ranked 24th in passing yards a game, they are number 3 in average yards per reception at almost 15 yards per reception by the receiving core. So when they get open, it's in big moments. When they need it, they get it.
Big plays, first downs, every pass on
it. So look, and the offense production is how they are able to put up 30 points per game, and a huge reason why they are 5-1.
Yeah, it is a huge reason why. Not the only reason though. You talked about how great their offense is, but their defense, that's where they really shine.
Yeah, and they're doing, and they're number 3 in takeaways. Look, and that's where they have been really, really well. It's also in conjunction with their offense, right? Just combined together, it's almost like a full team effort. Number 3 in takeaways, number 3 scoring defense, number 2 passing defense, and number 2 overall total defense. All of that is kind of behind Canton, right? You think about it, it makes you wonder how good they are. And there's another team in the league that is undefeated that doesn't have quite these type of numbers. Yeah. So, and the secondary has 13 interceptions and have forced 4 fumbles thus far this season. Really, really good playmakers on defense. All but one of their second and third defenders on the defense have at least 1 interception. That's complete play. The guys up front are able to do their stuff, and from the linebackers to the secondary is able to get interceptions like that. That's just they just know how to force the opponent to make mistakes.
And that's without even playing the Aztecs yet. We've been known to throw a pick or 2 or 15.
Us too. We got 14. So
yeah.
We still got to play.
At least we're in a race for number 1 of something,
I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, Houston doing a fantastic job. Canton, they're absolutely having a historic season. They're scoring 31 points per game, league best. Tell us about it.
Yeah, and look, and like you just mentioned, and they also rushed for 190 yards a game on the ground between their ball carriers. Yeah, and it's 40 more yards than Houston has put on, on the season per game as well. So, and the run game gets most of the credit for their success they have on offense, but Scar Patterson probably had his best game against my Louisiana Revolution last week, 75% passing on the day.
I know it was tough for you to watch.
Oh yeah, it was terrible, to be honest with you. So
it was a slaughter.
And he also had 285 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns, right? And while they still ran for over 100 yards on the ground against us last week, they are crazy efficient and good on offense, and it's all credit to their defense.
The defense is probably one of the best that the SFL has ever seen. Tell us about that defense.
I don't know, and Cameron Irvine can bring it up. I don't know what the lowest amount is, but I think it's probably in the double digits. They are on the bottom half of single digits, giving up 4.7 points a game. That's unheard of.
Giving up less than a touchdown a game.
It's insane. It's like a baseball game. That's something you expect a baseball team to have.
Or even like earlier on in the season, like, it's week 2, they're only averaging 4.7 points per game. It's a small sample size. We got half a season down.
Yep.
The stats, the ratings, they're real now. We've got 6 games in for everyone.
And that's the crazy, because their defense is number 1 in every defensive category imaginable. You name it, they're number 1. It's points, it's rush yards, it's pass yards, it's total yards. And you know what they also have? A league best of takeaways. 19 total takeaways in the league. And guess what they actually have? 15 sacks. So they know how to pressure the quarterback and force mistakes as well. And it's also led by, I'm going to say it, I love him, right? He moved on from us to Canton. And
Neil
it's
Rivers.
the Louisiana Neil Rivers, right? He's actually leading the team this season with 4.5 sacks thus far the season. So they have no noticeable weakness on defense. I haven't seen it. I think I felt like if we got ahead of them, we may have had a shot. But once we couldn't get a lead on them, we struggled. So, and if Houston stands a chance today, they're going to have to start fast, get an early lead. And if they do that, they have the best chance to knock Canton off.
And we'll see if they can do that on Sunday. We'll get that game on there. It's going to be a great one. Can't wait to see that one. So let's talk about Alamo City at Queen City. That one's the Saturday night game, 9:15 p.m. Alamo City at 2-4. You need to go all the way back to season 14 when the franchise was known as the Seattle Tyrants to find a season where they only had 2 wins at the midway point. Historically, they've been much better than this. That being said, they've had a very difficult schedule. The third toughest so far, strength of schedule. Their opponents' combined records 22-14. And their losses, if I told you that a team lost a game by 12 points, you'd say, it's not good. It's a 2-score loss, but, it's not terrible. It's not losing by 40, They've lost by 12 points combined in their 4 losses. So their losses have been by at most 5 points in a game. Most recently, they only lost by 1 point. So they're 2-4, but I'm putting an asterisk on that 4. I mean, they're losses. They're losses. They count as losses. There's nothing you can do about it. They are losses, but by that much. So they're a good team.
Sometimes you are not what your record says you are. And this is a perfect example of that.
Absolutely. Queen City, they're 3-3. They've had a tough strength of schedule as well. Combined 20-16 record opponents, 4th toughest. So right behind Alamo City. Both teams pretty much boast a middle of the pack offense and a top 10 defense and points allowed. Could be quite a clash between these two teams. So let's talk about it. We'll start with Alamo City.
Yeah, look, and they lost 4 straight, right? And it wasn't 4 straight by a ton of points, right? But they've had a chance to win it in each game, but they fell short. They have had difficulties finishing the games in all those games. Kind of sometimes they come on a little bit late at the end of the game. They start making a push way too late when they should have done it. Other times they just couldn't quite finish it out in the 4th quarter. So, look, and I can't put my finger on why they have failed. Why? Because they are so good. It's not what we, to me, they pass the eye test, and I know they practice themselves. What are we doing wrong? I don't think they're doing a whole lot wrong. So they just can't, I just can't put my finger on what it is, because they actually have the 2nd fewest turnovers in the SFL. When you're not turning the ball over, you give yourself a chance to win games. The offense has played fairly well, right? But if I had to nitpick a certain area, it's a run game.
Yep.
Right? And, because Brad Jones is only averaging 64 yards a game on the ground.
Right. We talked about Canton averaging almost 200.
Right.
You know?
So, and this is it. Right? Look, and they are in the bottom half in rush yards, right, per game. So, as a whole team, right, in the bottom half of the league and stuff like that. So, like I said, the pieces are there. They're just going to have to see where it works. And they might not be doing anything wrong, just make a little bit here, a little bit there. No wholesale changes, and I think they're going to turn it around, especially offensively.
Yeah, I think they'll turn it around offensively as well. I mean, they've got an opponent that's pretty evenly matched with them this week, so this would be a week that they might be able to do it. Let's talk about the defense. Their defense, some might say it's kind of a bend but don't break style.
Yeah, and I do think that they're actually like the prime example of that, right? Yeah. Because they are third to last in yards allowed per game, but they're only number 6 in points allowed.
Yeah.
So they're now allowing a ton of points per game, right? And I do think that they probably, and it's all credit too, they probably have arguably the best defensive line across the entire league. 14 of their 15 sacks on the season are from their defensive tackles and their defensive ends.
They got a heck of a linebacker, though.
Oh, bro, Jay Marson playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
to me, like, he is my mid-season defensive player of the year, and if I had to pick an MVP right now on the defensive side, it had to be him.
He's everywhere.
And I may even pick him over an offensive player. He's been playing that crazy out of his mind. So he's got 16 tackles for losses, 5 interceptions from the linebacker position. He's all over the field, and he's got 2 forced fumbles. So not only is he doing that, he's turning into some hybrid safety linebacker person like Max Jackson on your team, who just is known for making hard hits and causing people to drop the ball.
Love having him on our roster. Let's talk about Queen City. They're a team after my own heart, I think. They're the number 1 passing offense, and it's led by tight end James Matthew Jr. Tell us about that.
He's having such a career year.
Of course,
it's amazing. Dude, he's got 51 receptions. It's second to Gabriel Manning.
Yeah.
And he's also third in receiving yards with 649 yards, and he's got 4 touchdowns. That's such really, really good production out of the passing game for Queen City when they're throwing him the ball. Yeah. Now in their losses, the pass game has struggled, and what they need to do to get themselves back right in it a little bit
is throw it to the tight end.
Not only throw it to the tight end, but they actually need to get their running back Jet Zero more involved.
That makes more sense.
He is underused. So if Jet Zero gets rolling like he can, so should the win start coming in for them.
Well, we'll see what they can do on offense. Let's talk about their defense. It's a sneaky good defense.
Yeah,
number 5 total.
Nobody's talking about Queen City in general this season.
Really.
Nobody's talking, and they are really good, right? They don't surrender much yards at all. They have no real superstars on the defense, right? It's your definition of a full team effort there. There's no real superstars. Nobody has glaring stats or anything like that. But they are just really, really good all around. And they are number 1 in third down defense, only allowing 37% conversions to their opponents. So even to me, with them, just like Alamo City, I can't put my finger on it, but they are, like, if you have that type of, third down defense, I don't know why you're still sitting at 3-3.
We'll see if they're going to be having a positive record, or if they're going to lose another one after this game on Saturday. Let's do another game on Saturday. Let's talk about Atlanta at Jacksonville. Finally, we're talking about a divisional battle. It's East Division showdown between Atlanta and Jacksonville. Atlanta currently 3-3. They're number 2 in the division. Jacksonville's 2-4. They're number 5 in the division. But the ranking doesn't tell the whole story. Like we were talking about, sometimes the records don't tell the whole story. Neither does the ranking in this case. Atlanta is number 2 at 3-3. But Charleston, Carolina, and Jacksonville are at 2-4 in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So is Jacksonville 5th? Depends on all the... I can't do all that crazy like tiebreaker nonsense. I just look at what it says on the website.
Right.
So, but here's the thing: we're only halfway through the season. A team that's 2-4 could theoretically end 8-4.
Correct.
There's a whole set of football left to play. So let's talk about these 2 teams. Atlanta, what are they doing?
And they actually have one of the top offense in the league, number 3 rushing offense, and they have the number 2 total offense, right, along with an offense that scores 26 points per game, and all that's led by BDG Hollywood, the Hall of Fame running back, who is number 3 in rushing in the SFL just alone. And one of the bright spots for them has been Bryant Dynasty and K. Marin since her coming over from Sioux Falls. Yeah. And they've actually had such a great connection, and they're back. It actually added another dynamic. They lose Siege Falco I don't even know if we even know who Boo Chisholm is anymore, right? Because K. Marin's
he's just off eating filet somewhere. That's all he's doing.
She's come in and almost kind of just taken over that lead wide receiver role, right? But they're also number 3 in third down conversions at 59% on third down. Solid offense all the way around. Why they sitting 3-3? I don't know, because they just look pretty good on offense to me.
Yeah. The defense, on kind of the flip side of that, their pass defense has been a bit of an issue, and their lack of pressure has been a bit of an issue as well.
Yeah, look, and they haven't had so much pressure that they would have wanted to get, right? They got all these passers in it, and not able to pull it together. They're not able to put enough pressure on the quarterback, right? They're allowing 22 points a game, which hasn't helped their offense at all, right? But one of the bright spots when you got Grandpa Aquana Shine coming off the couch, getting tired of seeing stuff happen on the field like this. He's like, I'm going to show you youngsters how to do it. He's the team leader in tackles, and he has to get his teammates to step up. Yeah, he has to get his teammates to step up, or they will continue to struggle. Look, if Grandpa can do it, so can the youngsters on this squad.
I can hear him in the team meetings. Back in my day, you would wrap the tackle and bring him. Anyway, let's talk about Jacksonville. They started 2-1, and then they lost 3 straight. What's going on with them?
And turnover and their total offensive production has been the reason why. Their quarterback, O.J. Bruin, 2 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the season. Not a touchdown to interception ratio that's going to win you any games. No. And it proves it will, with it, when they only are getting 17 points a game. The run game, it's not bad, led by Lord Vakarian, right? He's 19 yards with 5 touchdowns, but they might need to lean on the run game to help open up the passing game for them on offense, or else we may still end up seeing that touchdown to interception ratio increase in the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And the defense has struggled as well. They're allowing 26 points per game. They've only got 4 takeaways all season. There's a lot of teams that have 4 takeaways in the game. So it's the second worst rating in the SFL. Let's talk about their defense.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. Is because I think they haven't generated enough turnovers to, or even get enough pressure on the quarterback to force those turnovers to give their offense more opportunities, right? They only have 1.5 sacks in 6 games. That's last in the SFL as far as putting pressure on the quarterback. If they want to compete for the playoffs and actually try and get things going in the right direction, they will have to correct some of those struggles on defense.
We'll see what these teams are able to do on Saturday night. So let's talk about tonight's game. Normally we talk about the kickoff game. We're going to leave Louisiana alone. I don't want you to have to get into your own team, give up all your secrets, I
don't know if there's much secret. Ain't won a whole lot. Ain't a whole lot of secrets we keep.
I'm trying to be nice, man. Let's talk about LA and Motor City. The teams are a combined 1-11 at the halfway point of the season. Motor City, back in week 4, they got a 4-point win over Charleston, but that's it. Los Angeles, they started 0-6 this season. They were 0-6 in season 20 as well. They ended up finishing 3-9, so looking to turn things around. Motor City's at 1-5. That's their worst start, believe it or not, since season 13. I know a lot of people think, Motor City's always bad. Well, this is actually their worst start that they've had since season 13. However, like we talked about earlier, we're only at the halfway point in the season.
Right.
Both of these teams need to do the same thing that Ramos Lynn and I did last season with the Aztecs, and that's forget that the first half ever existed. We got through the first half of the season and we said, that sucked. Forget it. Pretend it didn't happen. It's done. It's over. It's in the books. There's nothing you can do about it now but surge forward. So, Motor City, they're going to need to take it one game at a time and see what they can do. LA, they made a coaching change. Rochelle Colston is now doing the coaching. You and I both talked to her about it. I like what we're hearing. She's got some fresh ideas, a fresh perspective on things, and we'll see what she's able to do as she takes over the reins. It's a whole new season for both teams. One of them's getting a win tonight. Talk about it.
Yeah. So LA struggles, have been in a run game, right? When you have a running back of Logan Jack's caliber, and I know it's his last season that he's retiring, but you think he would go out like a lot better than that. They just haven't been able to get him going. They're only averaging 2.5 yards a carry across all their running backs, only averaging 56 rushing yards a game as a team. And that is, and it's forced them to be one-dimensional, right? And you can't win games that way. So the third down offense is 43% on third down. That's near the bottom at 22nd in the league. That's not good. Defensively, they are struggling as well, allowing a league worst 32 points a game and most rush yards per game, which is 163 yards that the defense is allowing on the ground. Now, like you said, they do have a new head coach in Rochelle Colston. and she might be what the team really needs.
Yeah.
Right now, her initials are RC.
They are RC.
RC just might stand for the right coach to turn this team around.
It could be. Well, we'll find out in just about 20 minutes time. Talk about Motor City.
Motor City. I don't know what Motor City wants to be. It's like I don't know if they even know what type of team they want to be. They're kind of all over the place a little bit to me from my eye, right? The offense is at or near last in every offensive category.
Yeah.
The offense is only scoring 15 points per game, while the defense is surrendering 26 points a game. It is not anything that you can do to preach you any type of success. Now, they do have a young team, and everything else. So,
yeah.
But look, the defense doesn't help out their offense either, because their defense is allowing that many points while also giving up 66% of third down conversions to their opponent. And that's not anything they're going to be able to be successful. They got to turn something around.
Yeah, they're still, like you said, still trying to figure out, what exactly they want to do with the pieces that they have. The pieces that they have are new. A little peek behind the curtain of broadcasting for people. One of the things that the broadcasters do each week is we look through all-time stats and see, if anybody's approaching any career milestones. Like Sully Richardson, for example, if I remember correctly, he's about 127 yards away from 30,000, 129 yards. Maybe it's 126. Who cares? I have it written down. Point is, we look for these milestones. When you look at the Motor City roster, there's nobody near really any milestones because they're all basically brand new, except for a couple of people on defense.
A lot of like rookie to only 2-year veteran type players.
Yeah,
I still think they're figuring out what they got and what they're going to, how they're going to utilize, because they are talented. They just wonder how they're going to utilize all that talent to make it all kind of come together.
It's a whole new season for these two teams. It starts tonight. They should both think of themselves as 0-0. And take it one game at a time. See if you can finish out the season.
I really do think with their records, this is going to be some sort of a playoff type atmosphere for them at 0-6 and 1-5.
I'm looking forward to the game. Someone's going to win it, so we'll see. So let's go over our picks. I lost some ground to you finally for the first time this season.
I love it.
Currently, I'm at.
I was sandbagging.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, I'm at 11-9 now. You're at 9-11. So you're still losing. I just want to throw that out there. But you did pick Indianapolis, Portland, and Fort Worth last week, and you got all of them right.
3-0.
Yeah,
hey, I got to win at something. Our team isn't quite winning, but I got to win at something.
There you go. You are losing though. You're 9-11. Just throwing that out.
Not for long.
We'll see. So I picked Denver, Motor City, and Fort Worth. Obviously, I only got Fort Worth right. Let's talk about this week's picks. Game of the week. We talked about it. Houston at Canton. Who do you got?
I just can't, even though Houston's playing really well, I just cannot go against Canton after I saw them up close in person.
Yeah.
On the sideline, from the owner's booth, whatever you want to call it. They put it to us, and I just don't see them, giving anybody a shot.
It's concerning that you don't know where you were on game day.
That's how bad I got beat.
I didn't even know where you were. I can't disagree with you. I got to pick Canton on this one. They've just done so good in every game that they've played. I picked them twice earlier on in our picks, and that helped me get out ahead of you. I picked against them, and it made me lose some ground. I am not making that mistake twice. Canton will get the win over Houston. Alamo City at Queen City. Who do you got?
I got Alamo City, not because, and this is one of the tougher games to pick too, because they're both kind of similar in how the games are going. But Alamo City, I trust in Greg Soto because they've been right there 4 times, and I think they're able to get their first win out of the last 5.
Got a curveball for you. I know we talked about this beforehand, and I picked Alamo City. But I'm changing it up. Let's go Buffalo. Queen City's going to get the win. This was a tough game to pick. You know, I went back and forth a few times. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at the ratings, and I'm like, they both have a good shot at this one. Alamo City, they've lost some games, barely. Queen City, though, they've had the same sort of thing happen to them. Both of these teams are better than 2-4 and 3-3. Queen City, Buffalo, they're going to 4-3 after this game. So switch that pick. It's Queen City. Yeah, Atlanta, Jacksonville. Who do you got?
I got Atlanta. I just think Atlanta is a team that I can't understand why they are where they are. Jacksonville struggled just so. I think their struggles, they can't overcome the struggles playing an Atlanta team. So I think Atlanta pulls it out. I
agree. I'm also going with Atlanta. So that was also the reason I had to switch my Queen City pick, because it pained me to go against Buffalo. First off, it hurt my soul, but also we couldn't have the same picks. I have to get an even further lead out in front of you, and that was the only way to do it. So that's our picks for this week. That is the Week 8 Matt Willson, pre-week show, and we're going to get this week started. Gerald, it's 8 p.m. Do you know where your football is? Because it's right around the corner. Mike Daggs, Gerald Smith, don't go anywhere. Week 8 gets started right after this.
Let's go Revs Cadillac style.